In 1542, the English clergyman Thomas Becon, in his work The New Policy of War, drew a parallel between the futile actions of his adversaries and the cultivation of stupid oats. Over 400 years later, Thomas Becon's name may have faded from popular memory, but his metaphor continues to resonate with writers. This is because every farmer understands that wild oats, also known as stupid oats, are a pernicious weed that thrives without any assistance from a sower. The wild oats are closely related to cultivated oats, even capable of cross-pollination. Regrettably, these hybrids of natural wild oats and cultivated oats possess no beneficial agricultural traits, thereby garnering less interest from farmers and scientists and more irritation. But many scholars believe that cultivated varieties of oats were once regarded as weed, too. There exist various varieties of oat plants in the natural world, characterized by their diminutive grains rich in starch content. Those grains were gathered and ate by humans as early as the Stone Age. In the region of Puglia in Italy, within the Paglici Grotto, an ancient stone pestle was unearthed, showcasing remnants of oat starch dating back approximately 35,000 years. And only 6,000 years ago, oats made their debut in agricultural fields. How did it happen? In 1916, while exploring Iran, a famous Soviet biologist, Nikolai Vavilov, stumbled upon a small discovery. Amongst the flourishing fields of emerald wheat, he uncovered the presence of oats. Astonishingly, those oats were not wild, but rather a distinct cultivated species that differed slightly from the European variety. Interestingly, the local Iranian peasants did not deliberately plant oats. Instead, during the wheat harvest, oat grains accidentally mixed with the wheat and then found their way into the fields plowed for wheat cultivation. Taking inspiration from his discovery, Nikolai Vavilov proposed that oats were initially perceived as a weed. But the weed bore fully consumable seeds, so faced no opposition. Consequently, oats persisted to thrive amidst the fields of wheat and barley. As ancient farmers ventured towards northern territories, they soon realized that oats thrived there far more abundantly than other commonly cultivated grains. It was then they made the deliberate decision to cultivate oats separately from other crops. The Vavilov's hypothesis continues to thrive and remains a topic of debate, as its validation or refutation are challenging tasks. The preservation of oat grains within archaeological layers is notably inadequate. Archaeologists encounter difficulties in accurately identifying them amidst other remnants, and distinguishing between cultivated and wild species is often not feasible. However, an extraordinary exception emerged when researchers unearthed wild oat grains at an ancient Neolithic settlement located near Jericho. Yet, this unique occurrence was attributed to the incredibly arid climate prevalent in that particular area. It is important to note that oats are much more complex from a systematic perspective. To illustrate it, Vavilov identified multiple cultivated oat varieties. He found that all varieties originated from a vast region stretching from the Caucasus to China. Subsequently, a few scholars attributed the European cultivated oats to the Chinese region as the origin of the cultivated species. However, only recently have geneticists discovered that the predominant types of cultivated oats, including European, have a common ancestor: red oats from the Middle East, the oldest known center for the emergence of agriculture. The early European societies, known as the linear pottery culture people, who originated from Asia Minor, were already involved in the cultivation of oats. For instance, remnants of oats were discovered on fragments of pottery dating back over 5,000 years at their settlement near Olszanica in the southern region of Poland. Moving forward to the Bronze Age, oats were cultivated extensively across a broad region spanning from the shores of the North Sea in the west to the banks of the Kama River in the east. On the other side of the globe, in China, oats were introduced to cultivation a little over 2,000 years ago, mainly due to its geographical distance from the Middle East. Oats thrive in the regions with extended periods of daylight. It explains why the people residing in northern areas favored its cultivation. As for the south, the ancient Greeks possessed knowledge about oats and even utilized them to create medicinal remedies. But the Greek physician Theophrastus labeled oats as a wild plant. The Roman naturalist Pliny the Elder regarded oats as a menace to wheat harvests, as the damp climate in which they flourished resulted in the displacement of valuable wheat crops from the fields. Interestingly, Pliny observed that the Germanic peoples in the north cultivated oats and ate oatmeal. The European Middle Ages marked the emergence of a flourishing era for oats. Oat cultivation has undergone a significant expansion, as evidenced by archaeological investigations. Intriguingly, analysis from archaeobotanical studies has revealed that oat remnants comprised a substantial portion, ranging from 67% to 97%, in grain-drying kilns at Bamburgh Castle, Northumberland during the 9th to 12th centuries. Similarly, within the layers of the 11th to 12th centuries at the castle in Horodna, Belarus, oat remains constituted around 35% of the findings. Humans consumed some of the oats mentioned. Oatmeal was utilized to prepare various dishes such as stew, porridge, jelly, and malt. Coarse oatmeal was utilized to bake flatbreads. The Welsh sprouted oat grains and either boil or fry them. In the mountainous regions, shepherds would carry leather bags filled with fried oats, which would later be diluted with water and consumed. It does not mean that oats were necessarily a favored delicacy. They were primarily consumed out of necessity, either due to poverty or hunger. In Northern Europe, oats became a common food source for humans as a result of a cooling climate between the 14th and 18th centuries. For instance, during medieval times, barley porridge was the preferred choice in Scotland. However, by the late 18th century, the English could afford to make jests about the everyday oat-based diet of the Scots. Horses were the primary consumers of oats, essentially making oats the equine equivalent of today's gasoline. As market prices for oats soared, horse owners found themselves expressing grievances similar to car owners facing skyrocketing fuel costs. However, as the 19th century witnessed the rapid growth of industry and transportation, the need for horses diminished, resulting in a decline in their population. Consequently, the cultivation of oats also dwindled. Oats were rescued from obscurity by the revolution in food production that emerged, appealing to the masses. It was in the year 1901 when the American Quaker Mill Company introduced a novel offering to the market: steamed oat flakes, specifically crafted for breakfast consumption. This groundbreaking product gained immense popularity due to its affordability, ease of preparation, and the ability to be enhanced with various ingredients to achieve desired flavors. In addition, the Quaker Mill Company invested significant efforts to promote flakes as an essential component of a wholesome diet. After the First World War, oat flakes successfully penetrated foreign markets, swiftly conquering them. Contemporary manufacturers make a variety of oat-based foodstuff, including biscuits, crisp breads, and dairy alternatives. However, the majority of oats are still predominantly sold in the form of flakes. Countless individuals across the globe persistently indulge in a bowl of oatmeal as their morning ritual, and more significantly, harbor a deep affection for it. If you enjoy our short informative video, put your like and subscribe. Do not miss our upcoming videos. We may be a bit awkward, but we always manage to have a good time and find joy in the little things.